Hey folks, Charlie in Westeros here, and today I'm going to be talking about the new Harry Potter spin-off movie, Fantastic Beasts, and where to find them. I will not be addressing any spoilers for the first half of this review, but I will be getting into some spoilers in the second half, but I will also give you guys a fair warning when we get to that point. Anyway, without wasting any more time, here is my review. So first off, I have to say I grew up with the Harry Potter books and was a huge fan of the series. I'm not as obsessed with Harry Potter, obviously, as I am with Game of Thrones, but it is still a series I really enjoy, and as a result, I think this film definitely met my expectations. It was fast-paced, action-packed, but it also had a well-developed plot that didn't just rely on the constant fighting to sort of, skip over the story. I saw it in 3D, and while I normally really enjoy 3D movies, I didn't feel like this one needed to be done in 3D, or at least I felt like some of the effects could have been maybe improved. Keep in mind, I also wasn't in a massive cinema when I saw it, so maybe the lack of the epic big screen feel, didn't really translate well for me in that context, and that was the issue. Also, I know a lot of people are probably wanting me to, or at least are comparing the film to the Harry Potter movies, and I have to give you guys a fair warning. I was someone who loved the books way more than the movies, and I wasn't a huge fan of the first few movies in the saga. That said, I really did love the last two in the installment, part 1 and 2 of the Deathly Hallows. And so personally, if I had to make a comparison with the Harry Potter movies, I think maybe I would rank Fantastic Beasts as perhaps my third favorite movie in the Potter-themed universe so far anyway. At the same time, I do have to admit I'm just a little bit biased in this case. I'm mainly just happy we get to see a leading Hufflepuff character in this movie, and no, don't worry, that's not a film spoiler. As a Hufflepuff myself, I feel like we get a truly appropriate Hufflepuff representation in the form of Newt Scamander, the main character of this film. As a matter of fact, I think that generally all the main characters were unique and well developed enough to keep me really hooked in the movie as I was watching, and in fact, I have to give major props to the actors who portrayed all the characters beautifully in the film. Now, that's not to say that there were a few characters I was hoping we'd learn more about, or at least see more of, but naturally I think they are going to save, some of those details for later films in the franchise, obviously. At the same time, one great point about the movie is that you don't need to have read, watched, or even seen any of the previous Harry Potter installments to really understand what is going on with this film. Naturally, it might help a little, especially if you want to pick up on some of the many Easter eggs that are found in the movie, some of which I didn't even pick up on myself actually until after the film had ended and I was talking about the movie with my friends. Overall, I think I would give this film a very big 8, leaning strongly towards a 9 out of 10. As a film that is, meant to be the first part in a hopefully long series, I think it did a fantastic job of it, and now I have to face the hard fact of waiting probably 1 or 2 years until the next one hopefully comes out. Anyway, now I'm going to jump into some spoiler-friendly territory, so please move away from this video if you don't want anything ruined from the film. Okay, so I already mentioned that there were so many Easter eggs in this film, and as a fan of the Harry Potter series, I think just like many of you, I was trying to, look for those little hints and clues of elements relating to the series we all grew up to know and love. Now, apparently Harry Potter's grandfather, Fleamont, was mentioned in a quick shot of a newspaper. Now, honestly, I didn't even pick up on that, but if it is there, I'm sure we'll get some snapshots or screenshots of it once the DVDs are out, or a pirated version of the film. I definitely also love the plot twist at the end that revealed Grindelwald. It wasn't so much that I thought Graves was a good guy by any means, but for him to actually, be Grindelwald in disguise was a really cool twist in the film, I thought. In terms of Grindelwald's own character motivation, especially with respect to Credence, I did have a little bit of confusion. I understand that he wanted an Obscurial with immense power, but I don't think his main goal with that power was overtly discussed or, elaborated on in the movie. I partially assumed that he was intending to use the Obscurial to, cause chaos and reveal witches to the muggles or non-mages, but I did wonder if there wasn't something more to it than that. Another debate I think needs to be addressed is whether or not Grindelwald had possession of the Elder Wand during the events of the film. Now, I don't want to go too deep into that one, but I know it seems to be a potential issue with respect to the timeline. So if you folks have any thoughts on that, please let me know in the comment section below. One Easter egg I really did enjoy, and I was wondering if they were going to bring up, was the wizard schooling system in America. Pottermore released a little history behind the school on the website, and it made me think that they were going to at least mention the school in some way, which I was very happy about. I was also sort of hoping that they would mention some of the unique creatures that symbolize the 4 houses of the American school, Ilvermorny, but again, maybe they will show them and their significance later on in the series. Speaking of creatures creatures, I was sort of wondering if the creatures featured in the film itself are also mentioned in the actual Fantasy Beasts mini book that came out in 2001. I remember reading the book when I was really young, but I don't really remember the creatures that were featured in it. I did hear that the Niffler was discussed in the book itself, but I don't know about the other beasts. So if you guys have any more, info or insight on that, I am all ears, because I was curious about whether or not, the creatures of that book would be featured in the film by the same name. Other characters I'm wondering / hoping we'll get to see in the later installments include Dumbledore, and maybe some of the main Harry Potter characters' ancestors, like Harry's own grandfather himself, in more protagonist type roles. I think it would be kind of cool to include them in some fashion. Obviously Dumbledore has to come back in some form, considering he is a close friend of Newt's and he's an important character in the series, so I am looking forward to seeing him in the upcoming installments. Anyways, I realize this review has basically turned into more of like a theory, predictions, discussion type video than anything else, so I think this is a good point to end it. Obviously I'm left with a lot of questions, so as I wait for the next movie to come out, I'm hoping maybe you guys can shed some light on my thoughts and my opinions, and maybe share your own thoughts and opinions on the movie if you have seen it, and if not, if you plan on seeing it at all. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. I will leave things at that. Remember, I do have a Q&A video coming up in a week from now. If you have any questions, be sure to check out my last video to leave them there. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.